So I just wanted to share what my relationship with my father was like. He did. There is a very profound disappointment in me that wishes that we could have had that relationship so he could have seen what his son became and what his other two kids are becoming. So when I was really young, like small, four earliest memories, me and my dad got along pretty well, as far as I remember, unless I walked in and to the bathroom and caught him smoking crack in the bathtub. Then he got mad, and threatened to kill me if I'd tell my mom. But then she would just come home and fucking find him in the bathtub anyway. So, hey, fucking not my fault, right? Still here today. But, so that's how it started. My dad, he always had this need for vanity. He always needed to be the coolest looking guy in the room, always had to be the guy who made the most money, and always had to be the most popular guy around, even when his home and his life at home was fucking falling apart and crumbling away at the seams. My dad didn't make too much money. He made good money for the time he worked when he was back in the early 2000s and stuff, but he ended up getting an inheritance of like $75,000, and I guess that was enough to retire. So he quit his job and thought that we were just going to live off of that for however long. What I found out is he really had just given up. And so for as long as I can remember, I always, you just hear fucking raging, physical, just nasty arguments between my mom and dad, and my mom, black eyes and stuff. And I mean, I've legit heard my mother get fucking like, I'll bleep that word out, but I mean, and by the time I was 13, my dad was threatening to kill my mom on a daily basis. And, this is all I've ever known. So by the time I'm 13, it's actually kind of normal. And I'm used to hearing this, so I don't think that it's going to happen. And thankfully it never did. But there was plenty of times where it definitely got close. I've got memories of when, my grandparents came to save us from him and like take us away, and like, he was getting ready to lose the place we were renting at, and so my grandparents came so we could go stay with them. And my dad fucking wouldn't let us go outside, and he had my mom by the hair, and he's walking her to the bedroom, and he goes, "I want you guys to follow me, come with me." And he takes us into the bedroom, and he throws my mom onto the bed that has a mountain of shotgun shells on it. And he's got his rifle, I think like a 410 Winchester, a 12 gauge, and then like a handgun fucking over on the bed as well. And he was like, "Yep." He was like, "Just so you know, nobody's taking you guys home. You guys are going to be walking, the kids, me, my brother and sister." And he said, "What's going to happen next is I got one of these shotgun shells for your mom, the rest of that mountain's for your grandpa, who was the one picking us up." And then he pulled a shotgun shell out of his pocket and he put it in between his teeth, and he said, "And then this one's for me." And I'm freaking out, and I'm like, dude, this is it. This is like, he's gonna fucking do it. And so my grandpa fucking calls the cops. Like, he knows something's wrong because he's waiting outside for us to come out. Grandpa calls the cops, and my dad says, before the cops get there and before we know he even calls the cops, he's like, "If the fucking cop shows up, I'm fucking pulling the trigger." And now he's walking around with a shotgun. Cops show up, Montclair Police Department. So just so you know, Montclair Police Department. Cops show up, knock on the door, and we're literally, me, my brother and sister are crying at the door, screaming, "Please go away. He's gonna fucking do something. He's gonna kill her. fucking please go away. And they just keep knocking. And so my dad's, he hears he's coming. He opens the door. They ask him to come outside. And my dad had this fucking knack for being able to switch off fucking being a maniacal maniac in an instant and go and have a fucking normal conversation with somebody. And so he goes outside and the cops search him. He's got a fucking literal pocket full of shotgun shells. And they fucking, I don't know what the conversation is that happens with them. They search him. He's got a pocket full of shotgun shells. All I know is they leave fucking like 3 minutes later and he comes right back inside. Nothing fucking happened. He's still got his shotgun shells. And while he was outside, my mom told me where her cell phone was. So I went and I ran and got a cell phone. I called my aunt, and my aunt came and drove to the backside of the alley, backside of the house. And so we just decided that we were going to run for it when we heard the honking. And so we heard the honking. Everybody ran out. My dad came chasing, but didn't pull the trigger. But he was pointing the gun at my mom. Us. We were all running in the same direction. It was a shotgun, buckshots. And so we got out, and we didn't see him for 2 months. But my mom has a serious case of Stockholm Syndrome. And so my dad was living in a hotel. She started seeing him again. And then she expected us to come see him again. And I wouldn't. I didn't go see him again. Well, while he's living in this hotel, he ends up having a massive heart attack and goes in for quadruple bypass heart surgery. And when he gets out, my grandparents are gracious enough to let him live there because he's got nowhere else to go. We're already living at my grandparents'. And for about a month, when he was bedridden, he wasn't too bad because he couldn't do shit. But even while he was bedridden, he was saying, I can't fucking, he's like, I already know you motherfuckers aren't going to do nothing. Fucking take care of me and shit. I'm fucking 14 at the time. So, I mean, yeah, I guess you're right. But, my mom didn't have a job. My mom could have had a job, but she didn't. My grandparents were pretty much supporting us until I turned 16 and started doing handyman work after school. But so my dad, when he started getting his mobility back again, immediately started smoking cigarettes. And he would tell us all the time that he's just here until he can find enough money to go buy a big enough ball of crack to fucking smoke it until his heart explodes. And that took some time. He never got that ball of crack till like 3 years after he got out of the hospital, and it didn't fucking explode his heart. But so now I'm 14, growing, I'm 15, and my dad gets his not health back. He's not healthy by any means, but he gets his mobility back and enough strength to be a menace. And so now that he's a menace again, he's fucking doing like psycho shit, like weird psycho shit though. He's not doing anything physical. He's just mentally fucking with everybody. He's like he sleeps all through the day until like 9 o'clock at night, and then he'll wake up and just start blaring music all through the fucking night. And my grandparents, I never understood why my grandparents never just called the cops and had him removed. But apparently he already had rights as a resident by this point. I don't fucking know. Never made sense to me, because I'll tell you why when we get there. But so now I'm big enough to start standing up to this fucking guy. And so now when him and he starts attacking my mom verbally, I start getting in between him and I start fucking pushing him around and shit. Because I started exercising and shit in high school, and now I'm almost as tall as him, and I can fucking do some damage. And so now it gets to the point where every time my mom and him are arguing, me and him are nose to nose, and we're about to fight. And we fought a bunch of times, and I whooped the shit out of him fucking bunch of times. He whipped the shit out of me a bunch of times. I fucking put him through the wall. Fucking, that was our relationship. I started stealing his fucking, he was doctor shopping. He was getting 3 prescriptions full of, like Norcos, fucking Xanax bars and Somas. I was stealing his fucking pills because I was getting loaded too. And, that was our whole relationship for like 3 years. Was he would steal my money, I would steal his pills, and we would fight. Fucking physically, fist fight. And then he would fucking like spit in my mom's hair while she's sleeping, spit in my sister's face while she's sleeping, fucking coward pussy shit like that. And, I was begged to not call the police. I fucking always asked my grandparents why they wouldn't call the police, and they said, because your mom says not to, because she's afraid. And I'm like, why are we not doing anything to stop this motherfucker and get him the fuck out of here? And that shit went on for like another year, and I finally said, I can't do it anymore. I gotta move out. And so I moved out on my own. I went and lived with friends. We got our own apartment. And the day I moved out, I started getting phone calls from the house phone. And it was fucking call after call after call. I had a little Samsung flip phone. And I would get calls so many times in a row that my phone would die. And it was my dad, because he was pissed off that I had the gall to go move out on my own and fucking support myself. What he was really mad about was there was no extra money in the house anymore for him to spend on fucking dope. Because that's what he would do. He would fucking steal money when I'm not home. If I left money there, I would give my grandparents or my mom money to help pay for groceries or rent. And he would fucking steal whatever money he could from them. He would literally go in their bedroom when they would like leave and like ransack their bedroom. He would force my mom to give him whatever money she might have, like a 20, whatever. It didn't matter. Fucking, it was all going to him. And so I finally told my grandparents that you need to send me like fucking receipts and shit, and like I need to see how much money you have before you pay rent, how much money you have to pay rent, and how much money is rent cost, like, or the fucking space rent at the mobile home park, and I will pay the difference, because I refused to give him a fucking dime. And so I ended up having to block the house number, and I told everybody else that they had to get a hold of me via their own cell phone if they needed to talk to me. Like, even if my little brother wanted to call me, he had to use my sister's cell phone to call me, and he would, because I would go pick them up and bring them to my house so they could fucking get away, as much as I could. But so I didn't talk to him for 3 years at that point. And I was out on my own. Shit got rough. Ended up homeless. Was living in my car for like 2 months. And so it was getting hot. And so I fucking said, well, do I want to live in my car, or do I want to just go back home and fucking, I'll have to play sheriff for a little while. And so I went back home for the first time in 3 years. And he fucking acted all happy and was like, I'm so happy you're here. And we got along for literally about a day. And then he's still just like, my mom wouldn't tell me what would happen while I was gone, because she didn't want me to feel bad, and she didn't want me to feel like I needed to come back and be there. And the reason I couldn't is because she was allowing this shit to happen by not fucking taking action and having him removed, getting a restraining order, doing something. There was fucking something you could have done. Just didn't, because of fear. I don't fucking know. But I don't know what it's like to be a woman that's been abused also, so I can't speak to that either. But so I moved back in, and he's still up to the same bullshit, staying up all hours of the night playing music and stuff. And me and him are fighting again already. But like now I'm a lot bigger, so like we're the same size, but like I'm fucking bigger too. And so now when we get into our spats, he kind of just talks shit from far away, and then I step to him, and then he kind of steps back, and then he just keeps talking shit. And I that's how our interactions go for a minute. I push him back into his room, fucking shut his door, until one day I started sleeping in a tent in the backyard because it was too loud at night, and it was fucking like there was bugs everywhere and shit. He ruined that house too. Like he fucking ruined that house. He would piss in gallon jugs, and like I'm pretty sure he didn't get it in all the time, and like the floor around where he would sit in his recliner in the bedroom was all rotted out underneath because it was a mobile home, and the carpet was the only thing fucking holding anything from coming up and shit. And that eventually changed, and possums would get in the house and fucking. But we were so broke, there was no way we could afford to fucking fix it either. And my poor grandparents, they're the ones who I like really got the shit end of the stick, because they didn't do anything to fucking deserve shit. I mean, none of us did, but like my mom, after a certain amount of time, and them too, they kind of could have done more but decided not to. And not saying they deserved it. So this shit goes on for like 2 months. Me and him are fighting every day. I'm sleeping in the backyard. One morning, my mom gets particularly loud, and it's like 4:30 in the morning, and I hear her yell, "Leave me the fuck alone, get your fucking hands off me," like really loud. And I don't even go inside. I pick up my phone, and I call the Pomona Police Department, and I tell them, "Hey, my mom has been being abused by my dad for so long, and I just right now heard her scream for him to get his fucking hands off of her. What can I do? Is there any way you guys can come here and do something?" Those motherfuckers were there in fucking 10 minutes. And you know what they did? They fucking knocked on the door. John didn't come. Somebody else answered the door. They asked if they could come inside. They said, "Yes, please." And John, Dad, was standing by the kitchen talking shit, calling the fucking Mexican cop, "You stupid fucking beaner," all this fucking stupid shit. Fucking cop goes over, arrests his ass, takes him out, fucking restraining orders filed. He's not allowed back at the house. That shit took fucking 10 minutes. 10 fucking minutes. 10 minutes. That's all it fucking took. 10 minutes. So he gets removed, restraining orders placed on him, goes to court, gets out of jail like 2 weeks later, calling me, begging me. My phone number is one of the only ones he remembers. Begging me to fucking let him sleep in my work van, fucking bring him some clothes. And I never called him. I never answered the phone. He got out of jail, came back to the mobile home park, was asking people I knew around the mobile home park, sleeping on their porches and shit, fucking sleeping behind the clubhouse, and asking them to call me. I started ignoring all my friends' phone calls, because he's fucking asking them to call me, or call me from them. And I'm like, at that point, once he had been removed, I decided that I would never fucking talk to him ever again. And he tried at some point to kidnap my little brother with some fucking homeless guy that had a car, and I happened to be home. Fucking idiot. And I threw a big ass rock right in fucking one of the best throws I ever have, right in that back windshield. And they kept driving because it wasn't gonna work. He had my brother. There's a restraining order on my dad from like my mom, for my brother, and my dad was trying to get him in the car. I could hear him screaming at my brother from inside the house. I was in the house. I could hear him yelling, "Get in the fucking car right now. I am your fucking father." And and then when I came outside, they started driving away. But that was the last time I ever saw him. I never seen him again after that. And so not too long after that, my grandparents unfortunately lost the house, and so they went and lived with like another one of their kids, my uncle. Never got to live peacefully as retired adult, elderly, and it's one of the biggest heartbreaking things in my life that I think back on still, is that they never got to live their golden years the way they deserved. But the house was lost. It's funny because actually from the day I'm recording this was exactly almost 6 years ago from when the house was lost. But the house was lost, and so me, my brother, sister, my girlfriend, and my sister's boyfriend and shit, our 2 cats and 2 dogs, all go to the Red Roof Inn in San Dimas, and that's where home is for the next year or so. And from there we have to go somewhere else. And during that time, I got into the union. I got out of that hotel and was living somewhere else, thank God. But my family still had to live there. I had to live somewhere else because they had to fucking be adults now and get their own shit together. And they have now. But we came to find out, like, 2.5 years after that last time I saw him, when I threw that fucking boulder through that dude's windshield, he fucking died. He eventually ended up having a pacemaker put in, and then was just consistently smoking as much crack as he could. He got to die the way he wanted to. Now, I had to add this in after rewatching it, because there's one thing that I do want to mention, and it's this. I felt a lot worse about this too. Like, I felt like shittier. It sounded worse. I was more callous towards it, I guess you could say. Before I went to rehab, while I was in rehab, I was given an assignment to write a letter to my father. And through that assignment, I found forgiveness. I do forgive my father. And there was actually a part of me I found, and it was probably a big part of why I did so much drugs and was always running from a feeling. It was something I needed to realize, which is I'm not as mad at my dad as I am disappointed, because there's a very large part of me that really, really does wish that me and him could have had. It didn't even have to be a normal relationship, but a better one. Or like we could have, just had a better relationship, because I really would have liked for him to see the man that I've become today. I think if he was in his right mind, he probably would have been fucking very proud. Hell, even if he wasn't, he probably would have no choice but to be proud. And so there's a very large part of me that is very disappointed that he's no longer here, because we don't get to have that relationship now. But it's not like I did say I would never talk to him again, but if I got the right call one day and he said, "Hey man, I know I was fucking wrong," and he wanted to talk about it, I would have had no problem opening up and having that conversation. But it just never was meant to be, I guess. But yeah, no, I don't want that to be lost. There is a very profound disappointment in me that wishes that we could have had that relationship, so he could have seen what his son became and what his other 2 kids are becoming. But back to the closing, which was smoking himself to death on crack. So yeah, good for him. But yeah, I don't know. I was talking about this story with somebody, and somebody was like, you should, like, I mean, if you're talking about how you're addicted to fentanyl and shit, and you should talk about this. Like, if somebody out there has a relationship with their father that they aren't proud of or aren't happy about, I don't know, that's who this video is for. Somebody who might need to hear that they're not alone. That's what all of my videos are for. But yeah, I hope that you find something you can relate to in this video, and just know that life is happy now. So it gets better, even if it means they have to die sometimes. But just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked the story. Maybe you've got issues. No, I'm just kidding. But thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great relationship with your father, because nobody needs to have this kind of relationship with their father. I feel like it'd be better to just not have one at that point, right? But I don't know. I don't know how that feels either. I've never been in that position. I feel like I have been, but technically I had one. But hope y'all have a nice day. Thanks for listening. Bye.